Welcome back to Dave's Gone By on this very, very special Sunday evening special because we got a TV local legend on our program tonight. Now, we've had a couple of cool TV and radio legendary people. I mean, one of my great joys on this show was talking to Joe Franklin a few months back. Well, here's someone who's also really identified with New Jersey and local programming, someone who basically started with sticks and bones and a couple of dollars and decided to do a funny TV show and parlayed that into a lifelong career of comedy and music and fun. His name is Floyd VIVINO, but we all know him as Uncle Floyd, and we welcome him into the neighborhood. Hi, Uncle Floyd.
Hey, Dave, you got it backwards, though.
Oh.
I didn't start in TV. I started in the nightclub world and parlayed that into television.
Were you doing...
As opposed to starting in TV.
Oh.
I was in burlesque in New York, the last comic to work in Manhattan, in the old-time burlesque theaters. I worked Long Island, Frankie Braille's Suffolk House in Lake Ronkonkoma for years. About 100 clubs up and down the island. Frankie Brancato's Top Hat Lounge in Franklin Square, the old San Susan on Jericho Turnpike, all that before I went on TV.
I had no idea. And were you doing...
so then I went on TV.
Yeah.
But I always did nightclubs, but when I was on television, my following changed because of the TV show. So we were playing the bigger theaters in Long Island, like the Hub, what's they call the Calderon Concert Center.
Right.
And...
I don't think that's there anymore, but... Yeah, sorry?
Eppie Epstein's place called My Cousin's Place, and, you know...
My father's place also, maybe?
It was the North Stage Dinner Theater in Glen Cove, and colleges, of course, so...
But was the material that you were doing first in the nightclubs the same as TV, or did you have to make it, much more PG?
We didn't use material on TV because we were on every day, and we did 6,000 shows, and
wow.
We just grinded them out, and we that's why they don't hold up. A lot of them make no sense. It's like reading old newspapers. There's one show which was based around David Johansen appearing at the Academy of Music on 14th Street in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a generation doesn't even know that was a big rock and roll theater at one time.
No, not at all. Well, yeah, I think now on 17th is something. They've got another club there now. That's one of the few venues.
The Irving Place?
Yeah, Irving Plaza, right. Yeah.
Well, it was Irving. Now it's Irving Plaza, but that was a burlesque theater for years, and it was a Yiddish theater.
Oh, wow.
First it was a German beer hall,
yeah.
Then it became a real rough house. Well, it was a German neighborhood originally, and then it became a burlesque theater for a long time, and with burlesque and Yiddish going back and forth.
Oh man, this is totally alien to me, and I should know this New York history, but
Nobody
I
cares.
don't.
Nobody cares about it. I care about it, but me and maybe you mentioned Joe Franklin before. He could give me a run for the money on this, but I love it, so I'm interested. I'm fascinated, and I'm ticked because the information given on the internet is just a lot of it. There's so much misinformation because anybody could feed it.
Well, yes.
Anybody. There's a site that says I was born and raised, I'm a Sicilian American, which is not even true.
What are you then?
Well, I'm born in the United States, not Sicily, number one, and my ancestors didn't come from Sicily. They came from Calabria and Campania region.
And Bayonne. No.
Bayonne?
Yeah. Well, okay, but, Wikipedia, you can change your Wikipedia page. You would certainly be entitled to do that.
Yeah, and they can stop stuff on YouTube with one warning, but it's fascinating to me that people don't know history, and I go on the website. If I look up a theater, for instance, two people will argue about seating capacity because they don't realize that balconies opened and closed, number one.
Right.
Number two, the theater managers lied about their seating capacity to get a lower rate from the film distributor. In other words, if you had a 600-seat theater, you didn't pay as much for a film rental as a 2,000-seat house.
So they would hide the actual number in order to...
Sure,
okay.
they fudged the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Sure they did. People, it was very...
Yeah.
That's the fun part about it. There's very little honesty.
In show business? No. Please, people lie in show business? Come on.
Look at Groucho Marx. He lied about his age. He knocked 5 years off for the longest time. Red Fox was the worst lie. His age, I mean, they weren't even close sometimes. But
yeah, as I remember, when Red Fox died, he was 31. It was really kind of...
younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old are you, by the way?
62.
Mazel, that's great. And are you in good health? Is everything good?
Well, you never know. You think you are.
Yeah.
I hope I am, because you want to know something? That's the only thing that counts. It really, as you get a little older, everything the old-timers used to say, 40 years ago that I heard, and I says, oh, that's a lot of hogwash. Now I'm saying the same thing. You got your health, you got everything. Without it, what have you got?
This is true. And you must be married for quite a long time now.
I have 7 kids.
7 children?
Mm.
I guess you were playing something else besides piano. Holy cow, congratulations. Now, I wanted to get to this later, but since you mentioned the kids, I remember being kind of surprised going to the theater, often as I do, years ago, opening the program to either Les Mis or whatever it was, and seeing the name Donna Vivino.
Yeah, that's my niece.
Oh, it's not your daughter, it's a niece.
No, that's my brother Jerry's daughter.
Okay.
He works for Conan O'Brien. He's with Max Weinberg and a show every night.
Wait, Jerry or Jimmy?
Both of them are.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
But my brother Jimmy is and Jerry were both with Max Weinberg. But my brother Jerry's daughter Donna started as a little girl in Les Mis. She was the original young Cosette on Broadway.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And they gave me a credit in the theater bill, the play bill, that I was her first television show.
Oh.
She appeared on her uncle's television show.
That
was cute. She's going to be 30 years old. I mean, it's scary.
I know. But are any of your 7 in show business or have aspirations? No.
Absolutely not.
You told them don't even...
No, you know what happens? You get education. It's a different world. I went into show business because that's all I knew, and my brothers, we're like old school. We came from show people, in other words. Our relatives were in show business for generations.
Please, expound on that.
It was the family business. My father played trumpet. My mother's father was a producer of Italian shows in the Italian Immigrant Theater of New York, like the Yiddish Theater. You had the Italian Theater, and you had on the Lower East Side, and you had in New Jersey and Philadelphia. And
don't forget, also there was the Polish Theater, but it was in French, so I don't even know. I'm sorry. No, continue. Sorry about that lead balloon there. I didn't mean to stop your progress.
I love all comedy.
That was comedy.
All comedy.
Good. So
my people were show people, so we went in. Me and my brothers went in the business, and my niece Donna is the last one of the family train probably to go into the business.
Wow. And I'm assuming the family's really proud and happy because she's doing a lot of Broadway and theater stuff.
She's on the road now in Hairspray, and she goes on the road and tours all over the country with shows, and she's got a hell of a voice. I still think of her as a little girl, and she's a woman. It's so hard to... my brother Jerry's child, and we see her at the holidays. When she comes over to my house, I try to get the family. I'm the one who has the big parties in the house, get all the relatives together. Hi, this is Uncle Floyd. I hope you come to see me at the Dix Hills Center for the Performing Arts. That's at Five Towns College. I'll be there on Saturday night, February 16th.
Now, let's roll it back. I'm talking to Uncle Floyd here, by the way, on Dave Has Gone By, and we kind of skipped over a lot of the whole way that you moved from doing burlesque and cabaret to getting a show on New Jersey television. How did it happen?
It was very easy because when I started, went on the air in January. You're very close to my anniversary. January 29th, 1974.
Wow.
Things were so loose back then, Dave. You could cut a deal with a handshake and a scotch on the rocks. It was that simple. There were no big insurance clauses and all that. And there was local television, which does not exist anymore. It's all corporate. It's all big time now. So I was able to walk into a UHF station, Channel 68 in New Jersey, and cut a deal and buy the time and make a buck. So I sold my own ads.
Oh, so that was the deal. You got to. It's kind of like some of the shows on this radio station do that. Yeah, exactly. Cool.
I was an air broker. And I produced revenue for stations for 27 and a half years, and finally, in April of '01, that was it. I was done. I lasted that long.
Well, was it the fact that the channel had to change and go in another direction, or did you just say, I can't,
No, the fact was I couldn't afford the insurance anymore, and I was with Cablevision at the very end. We were only on in like 70 towns in North Jersey, but it was still enough to make a living.
Right.
But it's highly populated area. But I couldn't afford the insurance anymore, and they threw so much paperwork at me that I saw the writing on the wall. Look, my time had come and gone, and like anything in show business, the balcony is always changing. The theater's it's always changing. But I had a good run. The sad thing, I think, is that there's no more local television.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, unless you count, I write and produce and direct, actually, a show for public access. So there is, I mean, it's not a living, that part of it.
No, but I was never on public access.
No, I know. No, I'm saying, but at least there is television that is local and human and personal and has nothing to do with syndication or big networks.
I know, but in my town, we have 845 channels. We have the Max Pack. Wow. 840. Now, you tell me, 845 channels. They sliced that pie so thin today. Now, off the top of my head, I watch channel 353, which is old westerns. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I watch 191, which is old movies. I watch channel 69, which is old movies. This is I don't even know what's going on 820 of the stations.
Oh, those are all softcore porn. You really should check them out. They're pretty good. A lot of pneumatic boobs, but other than it's not bad.
There's no commonality in television. When I started in the business, you could do a joke about a routine about Bonanza or Leave It to Beaver, and 95% of the audience, Lawrence Welk, they knew what you were talking about. But today, a comic is at a disadvantage. I mean, very few people know some of the biggest shows. If they get a rating of 9 million people, that's 3% of the population.
Well, yeah, it is more niche. So if you mention something on HBO or 2, 4, or 7, you're safe. Or if something kind of busts out and becomes like, like the gay guys who turn people into more savvy.
Straight guys?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
that has some pop to it because you're right. That sticks out. But
quite literally. No, I'm sorry.
That's a good line.
Thank you.
Did your boyfriend give it to you?
Oh, bum.
I don't know. Listen, if there are things that will stick out like that, and I know everybody talks about Dancing with the Stars. I never saw it, but...
Well, you don't have to see it as long as it's in the cultural reference. I mean, I haven't, or The Amazing Race. I mean, I know what it is. I don't have to have seen it, or that Howie Mandel show with the briefcases and the women. Well, I've seen the women, but not the briefcases. So there.
He's smart because it's when you're going up and down the dial and you see hundreds of channels, his image of that black suit with the bald head sticks out. And I think that, it's like being on a supermarket shelf. It sticks out and people remember it.
That's a good point. But speaking of network stuff and high level, somewhere in your run between 1974 and 2001,
right?
You did get that call of the so-called next level. NBC came calling.
No, they didn't come calling. What happened was I owed my channel. I was in debt of about $500,000 because I was paying a fortune to go on the air, and they kept raising the rates. And my mom and pop nickel and dime sponsors couldn't afford to pay.
Sure.
And make a long story short, they came to me and they said, well, you're either going off the air or we're going to have to sell your show to help raise revenue to pay the back debt.
Wow.
And they said, we're going to sell first $75,000 NBC local New York bought 13 hours for Saturday night.
Mm-hmm. Right after Saturday Night Live. It was at 1 a.m.
Yeah, and they bought 13 hours for $75,000, and that would reduce my debt to $4.25.
Okay.
And then what happened was I got involved with a company that supposedly syndicated my show and erased my debt, but we never made a dime. And then finally, after 1 year, my guys and I says, hey, we don't need it. We don't want to do this anymore. It's ridiculous. We're not making 10 cents.
Well,
not 10 cents. It gave me some visibility, but we still had no budget.
Well, I think that's why it didn't quite click also on NBC, is people suddenly saw you were on a network, and yet why were you still only having, $4 worth of sets and then very helter-skelter and
Well, my friends came on the show like the Ramones and all the punk people and oddball entertainers like Tiny Tim and they came on, and even Paul Simon and some big names.
Did he really, Paul Simon? I don't remember that. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's right. Didn't you have a little cameo in One Trick Pony?
Yeah, I had a nice role, but they cut the whole thing out.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I made good money, and I was a Warner Brothers movie.
Cool.
We filmed it in Cleveland.
Oh, lucky you.
The Agora Ballroom.
See, that's the thing. You should have gotten cast in a show that films in Hawaii or Costa Rica or something.
Well, I did. Good Morning Vietnam was Thailand.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's pretty far.
How long did you get to stay in Thailand?
I was there 8 weeks.
Ooh, that's a long time. Was it horrible or was it fun?
No, it was a piece of cake working. You see, there's a comedian, David Brenner, who said it all. The show business is the only business in the world that the higher up you go, the easier it gets. The hard nickels to make are in what I do: the American Legion halls, the banquet halls, the rough nightclubs, the county fairs, the outside carnivals. That's rough show business. Movie work is it's like being in the Army. You've got troops all around you. You got support. You got people feeding you, driving you, dressing you. I mean, they tell you what hotel to stay in, and they pay you.
That's such a wonderful perspective when you see what happens to people like Heath Ledger or actors and actresses who can't handle, quote-unquote, extreme fame and money.
Well, they don't have to drive in friggin' blizzards in my car. I mean, I work in the Catskills and Poconos, and to drive, I have nightmares. Many nights I wake up, I'm shaking, I'm in a cold sweat. I'm having typical Catskill Mountain comic nightmares of driving in blizzards and ice storms. And it's just, that's the life we live. I mean, I'm not complaining. Someone will say, oh, he's bitter, he never made it. We make a living.
Thank God, yeah.
It's a good living. I mean, it's show business. It's a wonderful living.
Let me ask you, sorry, yes.
It's rough.
Well, then, one thing that I'm wondering about, of the 6,000 Uncle Floyd shows that you ended up doing, how many, first of all, have been preserved and saved in some form?
Hundreds of pieces, like maybe 400 or 500 pieces of shows, but whole episodes. We have in my warehouse maybe 300 whole episodes, maybe 400.
Nobody thought to just VCR. It was a half hour long,
They're on they're hours and half hours.
Yeah.
The problem is they're on what we call quad-inch and 2-inch stock, and they're very heavy reels. The technology is so outdated that they don't have the machines to run them now.
Wow. Well, I would assume that could be transferred to DVD once.
I have to transfer them to DVD.
Right.
And I want to do that someday, but I got to find somebody I trust who has a machine that can do that. I'm working on that, believe me.
Good, because I figure that maybe there's a syndication option on a nostalgia or children's. There's so many, I mean, as you said, everything's been so niche marketed with 800 channels. One has to assume one of those channels will want something like that for a half hour a day.
No, what I did is so politically incorrect. Today they would hang me.
What?
We got away with things, please, that they would never allow today.
I remember one or two crude moments, which were hysterical. I remember Julia's stepchild at one point rubbing her breasts rather erotically on her kitchen table. It was sort of an accidental thing. You weren't planning to do it, and then you leaned over and you were like, "Woo!" I mean, that's as close to off color as I ever saw the Uncle Floyd show get. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, you did. We have We have a lot of stuff that. You know what I want to do? My plan, because I tell my guys, it cost me $328 a month to store the show in a warehouse. Mm-hmm. I've got
climate controlled and all that stuff, right?
I want to make a book first.
Oh.
About it, a big scrapbook with pictures and because it was, and it's hard to believe, one of the most controversial shows of. I mean, Marvin Kipman. You should see the things he wrote about us. He was a big writer in Newsday.
He wasn't a fan. I mean, I used to read him all the time. I don't recall him ever assailing you guys.
He became a fan. That was the problem with local type shows. We never had a budget. We did what we wanted, and we developed the following. But it wasn't the kind of show where you watch once and you got it. It was almost like a soap opera because we grinded the material out every day.
And whereas a critic, he'll watch 2 or 3 episodes to get us, and then after 2 or 3 episodes, it's not like he's going to get to watch 3-4 weeks. He's got to write that review.
Yeah, and in the press, I was called, one newspaper would call me a vulgar, the worst thing in history. Another would call me a genius.
Oh.
It's very interesting because people couldn't make head or tail of it. I'll tell you that a lot of newspapers were very good, and critics were wonderful to me. But there was also quite a big camp that was, highly offended.
Oh, well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But when you survived for, let's see, 84, 94, 26
you mentioned
years.
Joe Franklin before. He sued me for crying out loud.
Oh, let's get into this. I mean, I talked to him about that, and he seemed rather ashamed and embarrassed. And then
embarrassed?
What? Yeah.
He should be. Well, I see him at various functions, and I always treat him with respect because I always liked Joe Franklin. I love the man, and he sued me because he called it malicious parody. I would have I'm sure 70% of your listeners don't even know who he was, or me.
Well, he's still on Bloomberg, He's still on the radio. He just doesn't have his overnight on...
but he had a television show, which I did a parody of and called it the Joe Frankfurter Show. All right, so he was offended by that, but...
As if that were something to be offended by.
The thing that got him blown out of the water, we understand, was the pistachio nut inspector. And we had a guy who was a professional pistachio. There was one of my guys acting the role, and his fingertips were all red. Years ago, the pistachio nuts.
Yes.
And his lips were red. Put lipstick on him, and his fingertips were completely red with red makeup. And he had a book, The History of Pistachio Nuts. And there were these, red smudges on it. Then we had, the next guest would be an actor who appeared in 800 movies. He was always a dead body in a war scene or something. And Joe sued me for malicious parody, claiming that I made all his guests look like third-rate, people and this and that.
Only 95% of his guests were third-rate people.
But I was one of his guests. Many times I did his show. I just did a big thing with him in December in New York.
Good heavens.
In Manhattan. I see him all the time.
Nice of you to bury the hatchet.
Huh?
Nice of you to bury the hatchet.
Well, I buried the hatchet. The only one who stuck up for me at the time was Imus. I have all those write-ups. I said in the New York Post. The New York Post stuck up for me, and
wow.
He served the lawsuit at a telethon, a one-to-one telethon.
At a telethon he did it?
Yeah, which is like a place where you don't do that kind of thing.
Of course. Oh, that's so...
New York City it was.
And I think he did the same thing to Billy Crystal, too, for doing the parody on Saturday Night Live. I think at first he was angry about that as well.
I called him when I got the subpoena. I said, Joe, what is this? He said, big news. Big news, my friend. You, big news. I love you like a son. And he hangs up the phone.
He's nuts. I mean, we know that he's nuts.
But I love him. I don't care. You know what happened?
What?
The lawyers made a mockery out of it. And after I had paid, I think it was $12,000, I said, that's enough. I'm not fighting this anymore. Let them come in the police car and bring me to court. This is ridiculous.
Well, what's funny is when I was talking to him about it, he sort of, kind of glossed over it and said, and then 10 minutes later, when I was talking to Joe, we brought up the whole aristocrats thing, and he was thinking of suing Sarah Silverman still. Did you see the movie? Of course you must have. The Aristocrats.
No, I didn't. I don't go to the movies.
Oh, well, rent it.
I refuse to go sit in the theater today. First of all, the volume is too loud.
Okay.
It's too loud, and I can't sit through a half an hour of coming attractions.
Oh, I will.
Refuse.
Show up late.
Well, I can never seem to time it. It just bothers the hell out of me. I know, because I'm getting older, and I don't have the patience for that, to sit in a theater for 1/2 hour and watch coming attractions.
I know, it's pretty... Yeah, I barely see any movies myself, except on DVD,
I'm dying to see The Aristocrat.
So you know what it is. You know it's all these comedians.
Told by 30 comics, right?
Right. And the Sarah Silverman version is a very, very strange and weird version with an amazing punchline that involves Joe Franklin. And Franklin literally, was making a whole big noise about suing her for being malicious about him. And, I talked to him and said, what's wrong? It's comedy. And he's like, well, I don't know. It just keeps my names in the paper. I'm there's better ways.
Yeah, exactly. But comedy is our greatest freedom, and nothing upsets people more than comedy. Because, nothing. People get more offended at comedians than they do at politicians.
Well, it's the emperor's new clothes. If you tear off the clothing and make somebody look funny, you take their power away. You start laughing at a dictator, he's not a dictator anymore. So
the dictators throughout history, the first people they got rid of were the comics and the satirists and anybody who would poke fun at what they were doing.
And the lawyers, which was a good idea, but still.
Well,
yeah.
Hi, everybody. This is Uncle Floyd, and you're listening to Dave's Gone By on WGBB. Right, Oogie?
That's right. It's my favorite show.
Let's get nostalgic. We're still talking with the wonderful and amazing Uncle Floyd. I just want to throw some words at you and see whatever happened to them. Remember Malta Schaefer?
Yeah, I do. They were one of my sponsors.
Right. I just remember the ads, and parents
you remember that?
Oh, God, I used to watch your show. Why do you think I have you on the air here?
You know what they were? A soft drink aimed at the Hispanic market. Because I was on UHF, I was getting tons of mail from Hispanic-named children or people coming from the big East Harlem area. And make a long story short, I must have collected about 5,000 fan letters from kids with last names like Gonzalez, Gomez, Hernandez, or Lopez. And I said, man, you know what's happening? They're finding Channel 68 because we're next to Channel 47 on the UHF band. And by accident, they would find our station because UHF was like that. You flip the dial around and bingo, all of a sudden they were trying to get, we were on the same time, Los Tres Chiflados, the Three Stooges in Spanish. And they would find me. So I brought this crate of mail to Kent Street in Brooklyn, the headquarters for the Malta Schaefer people. And they were so impressed that they advertised. But look at that. Nobody does. You can't pull that kind of business today like that.
Well, also, as I recall, there was a point when you had to take like half the show and not apologize, but make it very clear to the parents watching that Malta Schaefer had no beer. It was non-alcoholic because they were marketing this Malta Schaefer stuff to kids, and the parents heard Schaefer and they freaked. I was getting in trouble
for that because some stupid people claimed I was trying to sell children beer. First of all, the commercial was in Spanish language, which was, so much bizarreness about my show. But, here we are, an English language show with a Spanish language commercial.
That was the beauty of it. That's why people, not just children, that's one of the reasons grown-ups tuned in, because it was just so out there.
Malta Schaefer,
Como Malta Schaefer. I remember. And Wometco Home Theater.
Yep.
That was
the Wolfson family out of Florida. They bought the station. The original station was owned by Blonder Tongue Broadcasting. Two geniuses. And
are you being facetious, or were they?
No, they were wonderful men. They were brilliant men. They were engineers in the television field, and they had the channel UHF, Channel 68 in Newark. It was licensed to Newark, New Jersey. And then they sold it to the Real Lemon Juice people, and then they sold it to Wometco, Wolfson family. That's where WO came from. And they owned stations in Florida. They wanted me to go work in Miami on WTVJ. I said, I'm so New York. Although I live in North Jersey, it's this whole New York region. I says, you got to be kidding. I wouldn't go to Florida.
Well, now that you're in your early 60s, is there ever a thought that it's going to get too tough, that the winters in New York, New Jersey, and driving around and doing 200 gigs a year or more?
The snow and ice, we've been lucky this year.
Yeah,
But that's the only fears I have. That gets rough, and I'm starting to. I tell the guys I don't want to go. I won't go to Cleveland in the winter anymore. I won't go to Pittsburgh. I stay in the New York area all winter.
Well, that's... Yeah.
Last night I was in, well, I don't know what night you're... but recently I've been, in the New York area. I did Ricardo's in Astoria. You know what's coming up at the Dix Hills.
Of course, the Dix Hills Performing Arts Center.
Yeah, and you'll find me in the New York area December, January, February, more and more now.
That makes sense.
Because the Catskills, they can wait for the weather to clear up. I'm not, I can't take that anymore, ice and snow. And don't forget, it could be just rain in New York. You go 30 miles north and it's snow.
Oh, yeah, especially this year. We've dodged, like, a few bullets already.
We have.
In Long Island. And, well, we're coming from Long Island, but New York City as well. Just gets, a quarter-inch of sleet and the rest is rain. And then, as you said, 30 miles north, it's a foot-long snowstorm. Well,
at least Long Island is flat. But you get up in the mountains, the Poconos and Catskills, you don't realize. I mean, you're going up steep ice hills and, it's just terrible.
That's showbiz.
Yeah. You're listening to by the way, I'm Uncle Floyd, and you're listening to my favorite radio show, Dave's Gone By, right here on WGBB.
We're talking with Uncle Floyd, the wonderful Uncle Floyd in the neighborhood. Do you have a couple more minutes for us, Uncle Floyd?
I have as long as you want, Dave. I appreciate this. I don't do interviews,
How come?
I don't. I go by instinct. Just something about you that I liked, and that's why I do it. Because most people who interview you they want 5-second answers, and that's it.
No, that's the exact opposite on this show. This show, I want the real, the real stuff. Yep. Speaking of which, let's talk about some of the crazy and fun cast of characters that were... Uncle Floyd's show was not just you. It was Scott Gordon. Now, is he still on the radio, and what's he up to?
He's, for people who don't know who he was over 300 pounds at one time. He was our big guy, and I'm with him a lot. He comes around, and we're very close friends.
Oh, that's great. He
was almost going to come over to my house today just to fix a computer problem. I don't go by the computer, but my kids and my wife, they all use it. So they moved the computer from one room to the other, and something went wrong.
Oh yeah, that's all you have to do to a computer, and then half your worth is lost. Yeah,
he's like a brother to me. We're all close. A few cast members have died over the years.
A few?
I thought. Doc Prentice, our banjo player, and Muggsy died.
Yeah, right. Neto is Neto still alive?
Yeah.
Oh, go to Mazel Tov. That's great. And of course, David Byrd helped set up this interview, so I want to give a big shout out to him. What does he do?
He lives in Pennsylvania now. And he books some of our live theater shows we do.
And does he have another gig, or is that his full-time thing?
No, he's an artist by
really?
By first trade. He worked for years for MTV in their art. He designed a lot of graphics and well-known things. A comic book illustrator, and he's an artistic genius.
Go figure.
He could make puppets. He could create things out of clay. He's very gifted that way.
Actually, well, since you mentioned puppets, everybody, I'm sure, the inevitable question, how's Oogie doing?
He's all right. He's over here.
Do you still, when you do your nightclub stuff, is it just you at the piano, or do you bring Oogie out and do that stuff as well?
No, when I go on the road, I don't bring Oogie anymore because the people don't know him, and you have to, the television audience, it dwindles. Without being on TV, you lose your audience. And the puppet made sense on television because he kept me in line.
Okay.
But when you come out and, I worked the Riviera in Las Vegas or the Borgata in Atlantic City or up in the mountains, 98% of the people don't know. They never saw me on TV, so they don't know.
So how is your act? Are you just doing music now, or are you still doing comedy?
No, basically stand-up comedy. That's where the money is. The money is not in the music. I play honky-tonk piano. There's very few places even have a real piano on the stage. Dix Hills does. That's great. That's why I love to go there.
Wow.
They have a baby grand piano on the stage. Beautiful. Real piano. But most places today don't have pianos anymore.
But if you're saying that you don't have the so-called visibility that TV gave you, who's your audience when you go to these places?
They're all built in. You go to the Atlantic City, the casino. The Music Box Theater holds 1,500 people. By accident, accident there's 1,000 people every night in the theater.
Oh, I see. They happen to be there.
Exactly.
And then either they get something good or they get you.
Show business has retreated to the audience. We no longer have them come to us. We go to them. That's been the way it's been for a while now, unless you're a major star like Springsteen. Or you go out every 8 years and do a tour, bring in millions of people. Kiss is doing a tour again.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's different. But
now, speaking also of major stars, one of the things I love about your career is that even though it was, on the whole, so small and local and low budget in a way, one is that you got to do it for so long and pretty much do it the way you wanted to do. The second is that you can still do it in your way and do what you want to do even now after the show's off the air. And the third is that you've had, even though, you didn't jump to national TV or nobody would call you a big famous movie star. And yet, here you are, you've been in a couple of movies, and you have been immortalized in song. I assume
David Bowie.
Yes. I mean, wasn't that, unbelievable for you?
By the Ramones first.
What song are you on by the Ramones?
It's good. The lyric goes, what's the name of this? I can't think of it. Not 9 to 5 World. Maybe it's 9 to 5 World. They do a song. It says there's Vince Scelza on the radio and Uncle Floyd on the TV. And they mentioned the Uncle Floyd show 4 times in their song. And
then, of course, David Bowie.
And Bowie,
yeah.
and Dramarama, and...
really?
Yeah, a couple other I have a collection of people that mention my song. There's somebody on... some girl on, I don't know what it is, on the computer that sings about me, too, now.
Really?
Yeah, something about the Jersey Shore. Some people pointed it out to me and showed me. I mean, I guess they don't make 45 RPM...
no, but the single is back.
DJs anymore, huh?
The idea of a single has returned because everything is now iPods and everything is you buy things song by song. So the wave of the album has perhaps peaked and receded, and it's gone back to people picking and choosing just one song that they want to hear. I'm not sure if that's good, but the concept of a single is back. But and you had a single. How well did that do? You actually did Deep in the Heart of Jersey. That was something of a novelty hit.
Well, I made 11 singles, and we would press them ourselves. It would cost about 22 cents to make a record. It cost 2 cents for the sleeve, so you're up to 24 cents. And we would sell them for $1, 45 RPM.
Yeah.
But at the time, the big stars were getting 79 cents for a 45 RPM record. But local guys were able to get $1 because we sold them what they call out of trunk.
Yeah.
Sold them at personal appearances. And I bought a house with the money I made off my 45s.
No, that's great. Now that's also good to hear.
By 1980, I made enough money to buy a house just on the strength of my 45. I had 3 45s at that time, 3 or 4 at that point, and we kept making them. For the next 3 or 4 years, I made 11 45s, and then we made an album for Mercury, which was
really?
I didn't like the album because they brought in 18 gray suits to tell us what to do.
Is that I assume we'll never hear that on CD?
No, because it's very fake. It's a corporate manager, college educated. They never were show people telling us what to do. They came to the bottom line, and I told them, this is what you got to do. Tape us live and put that on the, Uncle Floyd live at the bottom. And they says, no, there's too much laughing. The people are laughing. I said, well, that's it. That's what it's supposed to be. Then they said, no, you're too visual. I said, well, then they start arguing. I said to my cast, it's going to be a real problem because they bring in 18 people to argue with each other about what we're doing. And in the meantime, my little 45s made the money.
Huh. Well,
it's easier to, you know what?
What?
When you have to depend on other people, sometimes you're better off doing it yourself if you're local.
Well, you've kind of shown that in your career. In a lot of the ways, it was get up, do it yourself. By the way, we only have a couple of quick minutes left. You're still also on the radio, right, doing an Italian show?
I have an Italian show. Matter of fact, in this month now, February, it goes into its 22nd year.
Wow.
I broadcast in English and Italian.
Uh-huh.
My real name is Florio Giovanni Vivino, but in New York you can go in and out of all various worlds like that.
No, I think that's marvelous. And can people? Where's the
It's on the station was WRTN for years. It changed its call letters 6 months ago to WVIP. It's 93.5 FM.
93 point. And is that also like where you have to sell the ads, or is it?
Yep, I air broke. It comes out of New Rochelle, New York.
New Rochelle. So you go and do it from home. You have to go to New Rochelle and syndicate.
No, I use a studio in New Jersey when I'm not live. I'm very rarely live because it's a lot of music. I have 250,000 Italian records.
Wow. Wow.
I play everything from 78s to 45s, and that's the only reason people tune it in, because they can't hear this music, even on the Internet, where there's 8,000 Italian radio shows you can get now on the Internet, but they only play the modern stuff.
Huh.
Mine is a nostalgia show. It's aimed at a New York ethnic group that appreciates it, you know? It's strictly a New York show. They tried to syndicate it. It's too New York.
Okay. You know, they always say something like that, and you know when they say it's not true, but you have to follow them because they've got the money and the access. So.
Yeah, well, when they say it's too New York, it means it's too pure.
Or too ethnic is what they really mean. But
yeah.
We're going to close our amazing and delightful conversation with Uncle Floyd. I'm wondering if you can think of one particular sketch or episode that stood out, that was really special for you, that was funnier than any of the others, or just clicked so well that it stays in your mind.
Well, one that the guys remind me of, we had a little set, a studio set, very simple, and I'm sitting at my desk talking to somebody, and two workmen came in, and they grabbed my piano and were starting to roll it across the scene, the set. So I stopped them. At first I thought it was my guys hired two actors to do this. I said, "What's going on?" They said, "We're taking the piano." What do you mean you're taking my piano? And I had to fight with them. And make a long story short, they had the right street, but they had the wrong house number, because our studio it looked like a house on the outside.
Right.
And then I said, "Let me see the paperwork," and they apologized, but they had it halfway out the studio.
And did you get all that? Was this put on the air, too?
Yeah, it was on the air. It was on the air.
That's
and they had to
wonderful.
roll it back and put it back. Some of the audience realized it was real, but some people thought it was set up as a joke. But it was real. That's the way. Because I started rolling the tape and never stopped the tape. And that used to get the producers and the guys in the suits. Like, if somebody sneezed, I was proud that we were the only television show that you actually saw somebody sneeze
or cough or anything.
Cough,
that was the idea.
Sneeze, they blew their nose, because there was no break. What they got is what they got.
Well, we are so lucky to have gotten for so many years Uncle Floyd, and you can get him, of course, at the Dix Hills Performing Arts Center, and hopefully more than once. You'll come on back to the island.
I'll have my plaid jacket and hat, and it'll be a lot of fun and a lot of jokes about my show.
Uncle Floyd, thanks so much for being
thank you, Dave.